Hey, Jermaine, obviously so far it's just preseason, but the line has looked pretty good. What is it, do you think, that's meshed so well, even though it's early going, especially, you got Andrew Thomas not playing? What's going right now?
Well, me personally, I don't really put too much stock in the preseason. I think it doesn't really count for much. Obviously, it looks good, but you can't really base things off of preseason. I think everyone individually is doing what they're meant to be doing, and we practice hard, go against a really good defensive line, so that helps too. But I wouldn't put too much stock in the preseason because you don't win no game, you don't win no Super Bowls in the preseason, or sometimes technically you're not going against their best players. So for me personally, and just the standard I have, and I'm sure the standard we have in the O-line room, not really look at it too much. Obviously, it's probably cool for the fans seeing the line perform like that, but as an all-line, we have such a high standard and where we want to be that we're just going out there doing our jobs.
Do you see, even though it's just preseason, do you see the pieces there, though, that gives you confidence that, when the games do count, that this could be a solid unit?
No, I mean I think it's going to be a great unit. That's me personally. I think we're going to have a great offensive line. I don't really put, like I said, too much stock in the rankings and stuff like that, but I think we're going to have a really good unit. Um, that we have the pieces, we have the depth, and just we have the coaches in place where we work really hard in practice. Like I said, we going against a really good defensive line, so that's really helping us also. Because how many times are we going to see a better D line than what we're going against? Dex, Burns, Tibbs, Roy, Abdul, Nacho. That unit is a really good freaking unit. So really, we're taking game reps every single day when we put the pads on, and even when we're just in jerseys and helmets. So we're getting ready for the regular season, but I'm really confident in this unit.
Thank you.
Jermaine, over the years, you've played with a lot of quarterbacks. Obviously,
Yeah.
what I'm sure you had a little skepticism, a little got to show me something from when they brought in a rookie Jackson. What has he shown you so far?
Nah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was like you got to show me. It's more so, let me see what you can do. And I've watched him in college. I don't really watch college football like that, but kind of was intrigued by Dart when he was at Ole Miss. I wanted to see what he could do. He had like a certain aura about him, so it kind of made me want to watch him play. And the games I did see him play, he was just phenomenal. Rough. He's a tough guy. Sometimes he has to take hits when he's running downfield, but he gets back up. He's all hyped up, and as offensive lineman, you build off that when you see your quarterback running downfield, taking a hit and getting back up, and acting like it really wasn't anything when he probably felt it. So he's a really good player. I think he's going to be really good for this team, and just the progress he's made throughout the offseason and from OTAs to mini camp to training camp, you can see his progression. You can also see the way he's catching up with the speed of the game because from college to the NFL, the speed is a huge jump, and I had to learn that personally. But he's starting to catch up fairly quickly, which is really cool to see. And some of the throws he makes are, you're just like, damn, that's gonna be a good kid.
Obviously, it's not your decision to make, but I mean, do you feel like he would be ready if needed to play and to start?
I think all our quarterbacks will be ready. They all have experience. Obviously, Jameis has a bunch of experience. Russ has a ton of experience. Dart is getting experience. Vito has a ton of experience. So this is a really good quarterback room, and if God forbid anything happen, any of those quarterbacks will be ready to step up and lead this team.
Thank you.
Charlotte Carroll. Hey, Jermaine, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good. What'd you see from Evan getting in there at right guard for the first time, getting that NFL action?
I think you can see his confidence growing from practice to the game. In my opinion, there's a difference because there's a different intensity out there. In practice you can mess up and um, you can mess up because it's practice. But when the bullets are flying and everything's on the line, you have to go out there and be perfect. Because if you're not, then it can result in a strip sack or the quarterback getting hit and God forbid getting hurt or a run stuff in the backfield and those plays are crucial, especially as an offensive lineman. So his confidence is growing for sure in that position, and just his demeanor. He's coming in there and he came in and I didn't sense any drop off from when Greg was in there. He really wants to be successful, and I can see him put in the work and really put in the study time too. So it's really cool to see that starting to pay off for him. But I think for him, he just has to keep going, and keep growing that confidence because once we get to the regular season, we're going to need him, and we play some really good D lines this year. So that strength and size of it is going to pay dividends for us.
Did you see that confidence grow just over the course of the game? He had that one QB, or he allowed that one QB hit, but then was pretty quiet on his end the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think that as offensive linemen, sometimes, I mean, our coach Carm says that you're not going to be perfect, and you have to be willing. Well, we're not willing. You have to be ready to reload, in a sense, where something may not go your way, and you have to be able to come back the next play and just drop it and forget about it. And really, you have to have short-term memory loss as an offensive lineman because one play may be crappy, the next play you got to go again. You got to go again and again and again. It's like it's not just 1 or 2 reps as offensive lineman. Sometimes 60, 70, 80, 90. So you can't let that one play affect the next. And Ev did a really good job of that on the game on Saturday. Right? Was Saturday? Yeah, Saturday. Sorry, it's been a long training camp.
Thank you. Turnover on.
Congrats again, Jermaine. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I get it, not knowing the days at this point.
Yeah, I haven't really got that much sleep, but it's cool. It's a good thing.
So it's going to be tough, I'm sure. I'm curious, you're obviously a veteran right tackle. How can you help, and how can it benefit having a veteran tackle, and how can you help a guy like Evan Neal who's switching positions, who's essentially basically, it's like having a rookie almost, I guess, at guard. How can you help him during games on the field sort of make that transition?
I think with my experience, well, I don't think I know. I know with my experience playing guard and tackle in this league, I know the pressure that can come with playing guard, but I also know how at tackle things are a little slower to develop. At guard is right away. That D tackle is going to be on you within a second, maybe half a second. At tackle, it's excuse me. Ugh, sorry. Appreciate it. I guess someone's talking about me. One sneeze. But at guard, things are quicker to develop, and so when Ev is in there, I'm able to just kind of help him with different things. Remind him to communicate. Maybe just backing up off the ball a little bit so we can be on the same level, and just kind of instilling confidence in him. I've done that since I've been here. I sent him a text when I first got here telling him I believe in him. I wanted to be successful. I'm not here to, get him out of a job. I wanted to see him be successful. I feel like as an older guy and a guy in my position, it's my job to help bring the younger guys on. Me wanting to be the player I want to be this year. In order to be great, you just can't be great on the field. You have to be great off the field too. You have to be a great leader, quote unquote. So for me, I really want to see the young guys come along because it's only going to help this team and benefit us and them in the long run. So it's cool being as old as I am, playing still and just playing how I am. So I'm able to help the young guys too and just instill confidence in them and just show them that, like the question before, it doesn't matter if a play goes bad or, you mess up on something. If you come back the next play, then, sometimes it's forgotten as long as you win the game. Now, they can suck if it's multiple times and it happens too many times. But with Ev, he's done a really good job of silencing the noise and just moving on to the next play, having the next play mentality, or like I said, having a one play mentality where nothing matters other than that one play, and then the next play, and then the next play, and the next play. So our young guys in that room are doing a really good job of that.
I'm wondering if, you hear the play call, you're like whispering stuff to him out of the huddle or saying something to him in the huddle, or do you just sort of wait till, after the game or on the sideline? How does that interaction go?
Nah, he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff, which is really cool to see that. You can see if a guy's in the playbook and really taking the time outside the building to study, which he is, because guarding this offense is a lot of knowledge and a lot of things you have to know. And it's a hard position to play in this offense. So Ev is really taking that upon himself to put the time in to study. And once he gets out there, to not slow him down. Because if you don't know what you're doing out there, it will slow you down. And you'll see on the offensive line how big or how much it will slow you down. So Ev's doing a really good job of that. And I think that, it's, like I said, it's starting to pay off for him. And it's going to keep paying off as long as he stays on the right track.
Jared Schwartz.
Hey, Jermaine, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. You mentioned with Jackson his aura. What about him gives him that aura, and can that aura be contagious? With teammates at times.
Oh, 100%. I mean, every team starts with the quarterback and ends with the quarterback. The quarterback is the most important position on the field, other than tackle, in my opinion. But the quarterback that's the commander in chief. Like, you're gonna go as far as your quarterback takes you, and Jackson just has this thing about him where you just want to play hard for him and you want to see him be successful and you want to do everything you can to make sure he's successful as an offensive lineman. So it's really cool to see that. And I haven't been around many of those guys, but we have a bunch of those guys on this team right now. All four of our quarterbacks have that same aura about them, which is really cool to be around because I haven't really been around that much in my career other than, I was in New England with Tom and I was in Baltimore with Lamar, but it's been rare that I've been around this many great quarterbacks or, potentially great quarterbacks. So for me as an offensive lineman, it only motivates me to be even better and just go out there and be as great as I can and lock down everyone who I can.
Thanks.
Last one, Art Stapleton.
Hey, what's up, Jermaine? How you doing?
What up?
Since we're talking about quarterbacks, you saw Russ from afar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, over the last couple months, has it matched up what you thought of Russell Wilson? How is he different maybe than any of the quarterbacks that you've had? And how are his interactions with, I've heard he's pretty intentional in terms of talking to individual guys. I'm curious, have you seen that across the board? Is he like that with the entire line, or does he take you guys individually, kind of sending texts and stuff like that?
Yeah, Russ has a super high standard and he's a perfectionist, so it's really cool to see how he's dialed in with every single position in the group. The receivers running the correct route so he can get them the ball on time. The tight ends running their route and just the little details that he's making sure that they remember that, can affect us winning a game or losing a game. And then also with the offensive line, making sure that we're on the P's and Q's and, just a little bit of effort. There's a play in the game on Saturday where he had that bomb and I'm just jogging downfield and then I was like, oh, we're good. And I slowed down a little bit, but we were trying to go fast. So, for me, I need to get to the line, but then also just knowing that at tackle, his thing is the tackles, they set the line, obviously. So you have to be the first ones out there to kind of see everything going on. So he has a high standard and just the throws he can make and the type of person he is and player he is, it just makes me want to go out there and be great for him. He has such a high standard. He's been to the peak. He is one of the great quarterbacks of this league, and he is continuing to be great, and I think he's going to be real great this year. So it just motivates me to go out there and be the best player I can be, and I haven't hid from it. I want to be great this year too. So to have a guy like that with the same mentality, the sky's the limit. But he's, like I said, he's already been to the sky. So it's really cool to be around a guy like that. I haven't really been around guys like that in my career, and like I said, I've been around Tom, I've been around Lamar, but I haven't started with them. So for me, I only count quarterbacks that I've started with, and Russ is one of the very, very few that I've been around where I can just say, damn, I have to be out there and I have to be great for him, and I want to be great for him because I want him to be successful, and for him to be successful, I have to go out there and do my job at the highest of levels. So it's really cool to be around him and be his teammate and be his right tackle. So.
Did he say really something to you? Was that in your head on the 80-yard pass play, or
no? He said something because that's his standard. There's a standard that we want, that we have around here now, and there is also just attention to detail with him. Like, he's a really detailed guy, and even the smallest things are the difference between winning and losing, and he knows that, and he's really starting to drill that into everyone out there, and even the guys who aren't out there, they know that if they do get out there with him, they have to play to a certain standard because he's not going to accept anything less than that. And that's really cool that Dart is around that too, because that's starting to wear on Dart too. And Jameis is the same exact way. He's a perfectionist, and he wants things done a certain type of way because that's the difference between winning and losing. So the quarterback room we have, and Vito's the same way too. But we have a really good quarterback room, or a great quarterback room, who is starting to rub off on the entire team. And I think that people will see that this season.